Everybody. July 11th meeting, 4:30, and I guess the first one is to amend and approve the minutes from the June 20th, 2013 meeting. Do you have any motions?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes at all?
I have none. Look good to me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nice neat folders now. Where'd Julie go? Update on the action items. Let's see. Bill, did you have any luck with the dog licenses?
I got a whole story about dogs if you want me to go through it.
I guess we have to.
It's a, needless to say, a delicate subject, and that's why I brought it up. At the current position, there's a list of people who do not have dog licenses. I think we have to admit that the whole purpose of the thing is safety and health regarding the dog license. It's a revenue negative process. It's a state law. Most of the money goes to the state, doesn't stay here in Jackson. The fee is, I think, $6.50, and it doesn't cover much anything. The little metal tag's about $1 a piece. All the person has to do is provide proof of a rabies shot, and then you buy the license. And then for neighbors to understand what's going on, the dog displays the tag, which says that my dog is safe. For the town, if we don't come to some agreement on, and I hate to use the word enforcement, then there is a liability on the part of the town that the town permits dogs running around town that don't have the rabies vaccination, and therefore there would be liability on our part. So there's some action we have to take, I think. At this point, all of those people have been contacted twice by the tax collector's office by phone. They've all been contacted. They also got a letter, of which they did not respond to. Obviously, they didn't do it. So anyway, the list, you have to recognize, the list may include some dogs that are deceased. We're not sure, but all we need is a response and solve that. Some of the dogs, they also said, I have my dogs, I'm going to get it done, and they just haven't done it. So we arrive at what to do at this point. Here's our suggestion. We met with tax collector and the animal control person, Ms. Sennett, and came up with a process forward to some point. And that is, at this point, Ms. Sennett is willing to take that list and go knock on the door of every house that has the dog and say, an education, we're going to do an education. Here's why we're doing this. I'm the animal control officer. This is why we do it, this is it, and we need your support to provide this verification, and we will give you although we discuss it, she could actually carry the tag and do this thing with her and have it done right there. If she sees they have it, my point is, if we can get it done and it's over. If nothing works and we get nowhere by doing this, the suggestion is that the 3 selectmen need to pass a motion, resolution, whatever, that will, for the tax collector to issue warrants. At that time, Ms. Sennett would hand them the warrant and say, if you can't provide it, it's past due, it's required by law, we have no choice at this point, but to give you this warrant, you have 30 days to come in and do it. After that, the town will have to take some action, and if they're asked, it will probably be to remove the dog or the animal, whatever. And then the other things come into play is the only place we can take the animals are to the, what's the shelter? Yeah. If the person says, okay, take my dog, I don't want it, and they give up ownership, then we have to pay the shelter costs. And if the dog is not vaccinated, that all falls on the town. And I don't know exactly how much it is, but it could be, a couple of $300 per dog. And then after, I think, 7 days, the shelter owns the dog, and then it's up to them. Then we don't have to pay it after that. But initially, to have the health exam, all that, $200 or $300 probably per dog. If the person retains and said, I'm not, it's my dog and you don't own it, and you still take the dog and put it in the shelter, it's the responsibility of the owner to take care of all those costs. At this point, the only thing, my process forward is, let's not get into taking the dogs at this point. Let's talk about Ms. Sennett giving her the authority to essentially, or tell her that's what we'd like to do, is have her go to these people's houses, try to get the confirmation that chances are all of these people who own dogs, they're all have rabies shots. They typically, this is not an issue where they don't have them. There may be 3 or 4 that don't have them because we can't verify that on the list. But the vast majority, all the rest of them have it. It's a matter of getting this thing to where they say, okay, here's the certificate, give me my license and get away. That's what we're hoping happens.
How many dogs are we looking at here that have not been processed yet? Do we know?
It's about 29, I think. I had the list.
About 30 bucks. 30
Yeah, it's 30 dogs, something like that. I have the list somewhere. It's about 30 dogs, I think. And I don't have it in my hands, somewhere else. But that's what we did with the dogs. So it's a matter of I think it would be a resolution to the tax collector to say, we approve, authorize and obviously we had the meeting with Ms. Sennett. She is willing to do that, has no problem with it. I told her that if there's an issue, I'd be willing to go with her to do this, to, add whatever that's worth. She declined, and that's fine. I don't need to go. And so she said if she ran into any trouble, she'd let me know, and that's another question. But we don't think the police ought to go, because that's going to raise the level. It's not really a police matter, really, at this point. So it's a matter of, if we approve the first step that I'm talking about is only we're asking Ms. Sennett to go do it, and we're asking her to try to solve this problem with the tag. If she can't do that, then hand them the warrant from the tax collector that says, you got to pay it, or we're going to take the animal.
Can't you do a lot of these by phone? That way she doesn't make first.
They've already called, can't do anything. Two people have called, and they've written a letter, and there's no response that gets you anywhere.
One of the things we're trying to do here is adjust the thinking of the dog owners and change a bit of the dog owner culture in this town, because there used to be one letter that went out and then there was never any follow-up, and so people got nonchalant about it. And so I think that it's some of those names on that list are longtime residents. I mean, it's the responsible thing to do. It's easy to agree with that, and I absolutely do agree with it. But I'm wondering how this is all going to add up, and I'm not surprised that Ms. Sennett would do that. It's almost like she's doing it on her own time, though. She works on a $500 a year stipend, and we've got 30 dog owners that are probably, some of those are doubled up. So
and I think
she's
there's only
probably at least 25 stops on there, 25 stops. I know, some of those dog owners have more than one. And I'm disappointed that those people haven't come in. There's no question about it. I just hate to see us put our animal control officer in a position where, although it sounds like she's eager to do it, so it's not like I'm going to stand in the way, but this is your project, so I'm here to support whatever you think the best recommendation is. The one question that I have is that when our dog gets vaccinated with rabies vaccine, the town is notified directly. So I'm curious, how many of these dog owners are we aware have already have a current?
I think all but 4.
All of them but 4 have
vaccinated dogs.
Are vaccinated, and we know that. Okay, well that's good.
Well, it's either 4 or 5, I'm not, but basically they're nearly all vaccinated.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And the others may be too, we just don't have that information.
And it's frustrating that people don't keep us up to date. I mean, those other 4 dogs, like you say, they may not be around, who knows? But, I mean, if everybody that's involved feels like this is the way forward, then...
I'm open for suggestions. I brought this up when it first came up with Jeanette, that you don't want to get involved in this. But it's so complex. I mean, you're dealing with a machine here that the state wants their money, the state wants this done. I mean, we're in a process that if you turn your head to this and something goes wrong, the first people are going to sue is the city. The town of Jackson's going to be sued.
And people need to be brought into compliance. There's no question about it.
It's a revenue negative. One of the things we talked about was let's just give them everything. But then we're going to have to pay the state. We're going to have to pay, the state wants the money.
Yeah, the money's not why they're not coming in.
No, that's correct. But even if we gave it away, then we have to dig out, write a check to the state like we collected the money.
Yeah.
So
Tom,
I'm open for any suggestion.
Tom, you had mentioned something about some cities that do like
Well, I was gonna
corrals
say,
or...
a question to a health officer's blog, to the state, creative ways to enforce, and I tried to include.
Yeah, I saw all those, yeah.
responses. The best, most creative one I saw was at the town sponsored a rabies clinic at the local fire department, as a way to sort of be a little proactive about it. Beyond that, there's several people in that blog talked about the town putting a lien or attaching the property in some sort of fashion. So a lot of some creative ideas and that's some sort of legalistic ideas.
Yeah.
I just thought that would be helpful on that.
Well, I'm in favor of giving Lauren a shot at trying to see what she can do to mitigate some of these via the dog.
I just want to, what we're also, I mean, unless you're telling different, what it also means that we're giving Jeanette the authority to hand, if they refuse to participate, is to hand the warrant to them. I mean, as you can imagine, that's...
Well, can we give it a month and see how it turns out with how far Lauren gets with it, and then see if we need to go to the next level?
Yeah, maybe the first visit doesn't have a warrant in hand.
Okay, well, that's why we're here discussing it. I'll do whatever. I mean, there's
like to
nothing you can, the warrant is, we were going to get 30 days after the warrant.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't want to collect dogs, I'm telling you. I don't
really
think
don't either.
anybody wants to do
Right.
that.
Right.
That's fine. Do you want to say, Lauren, Miss Sennett, you go and do your talk, and then we have absolute, I guess, absolute proof that the people said, no, I'm not going to buy it. And then it would just mean, I guess, I'm not sure, I guess it would mean you'd make another trip, or can you mail a warrant? I don't know how it works.
Chief, any thoughts?
You know what, it sounds to me like, again, I would be for more just to go around knock and say, hey, just give a friendly, blow with it, reminder. And so it sounds to me like there's a good idea, direction that we're going in. I think we should do that.
Her primary purpose would be education, why we're doing this, why I'm here. It's to protect the safety and health of the community and the children. You wouldn't want your dog to get bit. So that would be the primary focus. And then to say, I have the tags with me. If you would want to pay your $7.50 or whatever it is, I'll give you the tag right now. Show me the, injection thing, and go from there. That would be the focus.
Can you mail warrants?
Mail warrants?
Yeah, instead of...
In other words, I don't know what that means about the warrant. I don't know how, technically, I just know the term was warrant. Jeanette said, the regulation says then you would issue a warrant. And so so we were saying, well, why don't we just have her hand it to them when they refused to do it at the time? And if you don't want to do that, I'm okay. I'm trying to get through this too. So you can always take the next step later, but just trying to figure out.
Yeah, right.
If you can mail it, it's not a problem. I'm not sure Miss Sennett, wants to make 2 trips up there to hand him a warrant. But
Do you have any issues? I mean, the animal control officer's under your department, so a $500 stipend that's probably already been used up.
And it doesn't go far at all, no.
And then her tackling this 30-dog project, I mean, do you have any concerns about her basically doing this on her own time is what she's doing?
No, I don't have any concerns about her doing this. She's totally fit for the job, and she's a good people person. She's got a good head on her shoulders. She'll do fine. Will it do with the budget? Yeah, but it'll probably take a good hit, because it's just only $500 in it. And we've already used up a portion of it for other calls. But I would say right now, she's probably the best person for it.
She was very confident. I mean, it wasn't an issue of convincing her or anything. She says, oh, yeah, I can do that. So-
Yeah.
She's well known, she's well respected.
And I told her I'd go with her, but she wasn't interested.
Yeah. All right.
I think you should just give her a shot and see what she can do and come back in a month and see if we have to take the next level. I hope not.
The next level is the warrant?
Right.
Okay, so we're not going to give the warrant out. We're just going to go try to get thing resolved. Is that correct?
Maybe she can do it by phone the first time, and then the second time make a visit with the
Well,
warrant.
we've tried that. It doesn't work. I mean, in my opinion, you're at the point where you have to at least go ask them to participate. I talked to Jeanette. She said, look, we've called them, just can't get anything out of them, so.
So give her a visit, I guess.
Do I need a motion to do that? Does Jeanette need a motion? If all we're asking is to go try to get it, I'm assuming we don't have to make a motion.
Right. I don't think so.
Okay, at this point, I will get a hold of Ms. Sennett and Jeanette and say our next step is Ms. Sennett goes out and tries to get the person to participate
And if
by
she's
knocking on her door.
telling him at that point that if something's not done within 30 days, I may have to come out here and serve a warrant, so that it's not so,
It's not a surprise later.
Right.
it's not a surprise later, and serving one right up then and there isn't
Close the
as,
door.
contentious and setting a tone right off the bat.
Yeah, we really don't have a way to collect the dogs anyway. I mean, we don't have a vehicle to collect dogs. We don't have anything, so.
So I think it sounds good. They can work that out then.
Okay, if that's
Thanks.
it, I will go back to Jeanette and Ms. Sennett and
Yep.
say, okay, the visit is approved by the selectmen, go ahead and go see what you can do, and we'll deal with the warrants later, depending on what happens.
Sounds good.
Okay? I'm happy camp.
Alrighty, I guess all of us were asked to review the assessment appeal with Jason Call, and that was done. Julie had the bulk of the list items here. Let's see, notify Phil and Huntley about the building inspector work session, that's been done. E-News, the dates, the selectmen's meetings, and that's been done. E-News building inspector work session, which is next week, right?
The
Yep.
18th.
The 18th, yep. You research the building inspector position and provide that information at the work session.
Do you think we need any other information before the work session, or?
Well, you've got job description, you've got comparison with other towns.
Right.
So I don't know.
Andy, is there anything that you've seen come across in terms of job description for your position?
No, I have
Nothing that they recommend or anything?
not. Other than what's in the front of the building code,
Okay.
it's pretty basic.
Said he prepared a letter to Heidi Dawson stating that Tom Gregg is emergency manager, did that. A non-public meeting with Rob Sear. He said he was going to get back to us, decide what he wants to do on that. Look into QB reports, budgets, and manifest for check signings. We'll be now attaching a copy of the year-to-date budget with the weekly manifest. Talk to LGC about zoning ordinances. That's been done. Legal expenses, town breakdown, that's been done. Contact Bartlett to see if they pay us the outstanding balance, and that's been done. And the Mirror Lake quotes,
We got some quotes.
and that's been done. Excellent. I like this.
It's on the agenda, right?
Yep.
Mirror Lake somewhere? Okay.
Okay, and then Avatar for Andy, that's all set, and then working on the sound systems we're good to go on that. Very good.
On the sound system, how big of a system do you want? Do you want it so that there's speakers that can go on the background with a microphone that you can pass around and speak questions? How elaborate do you want to get, or how not elaborate do you want to get?
Were you talking about for in here or for the memorial?
Well, I think you were having her look at it for in here,
Right.
but to use for to have multi-purpose.
Yeah, if it's multi-purpose, that'd be great. I mean, instead of buying two systems.
So it had probably maybe something somewhere in the middle,
Yeah,
you know, where it's not so elaborate, but more elaborate than maybe just the room.
you know, just something we can, set up that's pretty simple, not too.
Because what I've seen so far is between $750 and $3,000. So whatever it is gonna have to wait until next.
Yeah, we'll put it in the budget or something like that, yeah. But I definitely want to have something for that was huge for me. I mean, just not being so close and not being able to hear, and I don't hear well to begin with, so.
Huh?
Huh? Say what?
You know, we could, Sean Doucette knows a lot about audio.
Yeah, that's
Maybe I
another
could have
person.
him call you and you could explain what we're looking for a sound system for, and he might have some ideas and suggestions for you.
Yeah, I looked on Sound Resorts webpage, they don't even sell anything like that anymore, they used to, but they
Right.
don't.
Right,
And anything that's online goes from a small little
Right.
box with
right,
looks like pretend microphone to
Yeah.
these huge sound systems with 4 different speakers,
Yeah.
4 mics. And
right.
Okay, that's what you did last time.
Hey, Frank's got the hand.
Frank? Yes, sir.
I think you'll find that the requirements for a sound system in a room like this are going to be very different from what you need for an outside
Mhm.
event. And if you try to do something that does both, you'll inevitably so compromise that one or the other will be unsatisfactory. It's just two very different functions. One, that here it's a limited desist for people maybe in the back trying to hear certain speakers, and that's far different from what you have.
Right, right. Alrighty, anything else on that? Okay, item 3 is Covered Bridge Motel. They're not here today, so.
I put that on because she said to me that she's coming to the meeting. She's gonna be here today and essentially tell you why I was not doing my job. So she said she was coming. She's not here, I'd move on.
Okay. Public comments, anybody? Yes, Bob?
Overseas highway.
Are you the highway guy?
I'm the Selectmen liaison, yeah. Jay's the department head.
Maybe you can tell me why we hire a excavator to ditch on North Hampshire Ridge and up in that area, when we got a $100,000 machine with a ditching bucket, and we're spending thousands of dollars to hire an excavator. That doesn't seem to add up.
It's on North Hampshire Ridge? North Hampshire Ridge?
North Hampshire Ridge in Dundee, and I don't know if they did any on Long Island or not,
Thanks, I'll look into it.
but they were up there for, well, I'd say a week anyway. That clock ticks along at about 125 an hour,
Yep.
and we've got the equipment to do it. I just hope he doesn't have to find another job for it this year, with all the equipment he's got.
Okay. Look into that.
Yep.
Alrighty. Any other public comments? Anybody? Police report, please, Carl?
Okay.
Hi.
We had 2 residential burglaries on Tyrol, and items of interest were flat screen TVs. bear complaint, Green Hill Road, 10 false burglar alarms, a vehicle that had broken down, the lead system, getting pushed off the road on Route 16.
Guys, could you take that outside or keep it down a little bit? Thank you.
Responded to a call on the side road off of Tin Mine for people yelling. We got up there and there was a domestic disturbance. We took a report of a suspicious vehicle up on Tyrol. We are continuing to keep doing house checks on town citizens that are away on vacation. Last time I was here, I had mentioned that I'd taken a report of a housekeeper that had stolen gold certificates valued $4,000. She was arrested for that and charged with theft. We took a complaint of trespassing, which derived from a civil complaint. We took a call for a dog that was in distress. The windows up, went out there, and it appeared that the windows were down, the regulated space, and it was okay. The only registered sex offender we have in town has made some bad choices, so he was given an ultimatum to move out of town, and he wisely chose to do so. So we don't longer have one. We fingerprinted a person for work in the town. I've met with a family member in reference to a person who was a family member who's older, whose driving skills have greatly decreased, and just discussed several options that's available. Assisted the ambulance, a gentleman who fell down, cut the top of his head. Did a check on the welfare for Project Good Morning. Handled a disturbance at a local motel between hotel staff and guests. Took a bear complaint at one of our B&Bs. The bear had actually gone in through the window into the kitchen.
Nice.
911 hang-up was a child playing with the phone. We assisted the ambulance with a lady in her upper 80s, difficulty breathing. Took a report of a lost wallet. Took a report of a lost saddlebag for a motorcycle. Assisted the ambulance with a gentleman that was having kidney stones. Assisted the ambulance with a person at a hotel that was having was nauseous and numbness, kind of some signs of a stroke. We took a report of New Hampshire Ridge Road of smoke. I went up there and located where it was at, and the person did have a permit to burn brush. It's just a bicyclist on Main Street that had ran into the curb, fell down. Minor cuts, exchange student who gave her a ride to the place where she's working. Took a complaint from a gentleman who lives in a condo in town, and one of the businesses that the condo association does business with got in disagreement and some threats were made.
Page 2.
Yeah. Reckless operating complaint of a vehicle coming south from Gorham. Assisted the ambulance with a gentleman up at the Jackson Falls that fell and broke his ankle. Motor vehicle accident, 16 Main Street out here. Minor accident, but the driver did not have a license, a 16-year-old. And the mother, knowing he didn't have a license, actually gave him permission to take the car to go to the store. And as New Hampshire law is, the ticket goes to the parent, so the mother got a citation. We took a report of a man up at the falls taking pictures of young girls Went up there and confronted the man and got all some information. We had the fireworks and the duck race, everything went great. Virtually no problems at all.
That was different having it in the park this year.
It was.
That worked out fine for,
For us, it worked out fine. Yeah.
great.
Of course, later that night, we took some fireworks complaints.
Oh, yeah.
That night. We had a small accident in the restaurant parking lot. We took a report of a library bench by the old library that had been thrown into the Wildcat River. A local business had a probably 3-foot-high metal chicken stolen. Had a motor vehicle accident up in the notch. A vehicle struck the moose. The moose had to be euthanized. We took a report of trash being left behind by people that were lighting off fireworks. And we actually went up and spoke to those people that lighted the fireworks and said, just make sure you clean up. And they didn't. We took a call from an elderly gentleman, and it's more of a civil complaint where he's starting to lose his faculties and he can't, his daughter is taking his keys and whatnot, and he can't understand what's going on, and just tried to spend a little bit of time with him and helping him understand what's going on. And that's it.
Good. Thank you. Anything for the chief?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Great.
Bill?
Along these lines, Carl, you might want to listen to this. This happened to me last night, and it happened to me about a week ago. It happened the first time I chatted with you about it, but the phone rang and it said private caller. And this foreign guy said to me, Mr. Wogish, I said, yes. He said, I'm so-and-so, and I'm from Medicare. And we're updating your Medicare cards. So he went on to tell me what my name, my address, phone number was, and they said, and I need your bank information. Yeah, right. I got that call last night, and I got that call the other day when I told you about that. So I guess what I should do is report it to Medicare. They have a fraud department.
Absolutely, and
I mean, I'm just telling you this
Yeah,
now so you
no, I
can spread the
appreciate
word
it,
to
yeah.
people, you know, because these guys, they're out there.
people need to know they're the first line of defense, not the police department. They are. And you need to be very, very aware that companies like that are not going to ask you those types of questions. And so, again, you're right on the ball by not giving it out.
Oh, yeah. He got some choice words last night. Your phone started smoking.
Very good. Thank you. Andy? Mr. Sunshine?
Yes, exactly. I bring
Well,
it. Isn't
bring it
this
with you.
nice?
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Yeah, it's usually not like this. Pretty easy venue. Nothing outrageous. We had a permit. I received a call about some work being done at Christmas Farm Inn, and went up and that work that was not permitted. So I went up and met with the owner. We filled out a building permit application and took care of that.
Was that a situation where you just didn't realize you needed one for
I
HVAC
think
units?
that's probably true. So, yeah.
It is a commercial building.
In this commercial building, electrical work's being done, so it certainly was something that needed to be permitted. So, but that, no issue there. I issued the building permit for the Rupel Garage. That's the one that the ZBA granted the variance for. So there was, again, nothing to do but issue the permit. Item C, with windows in some bathroom remodeling. And then the last item was constructing a dormer on the back of an existing garage, so there's no setback issues, any concerns there. So, and Avatar's up and running, yay.
Is that good for you, or?
Well, I think it's great for the town because now, I can put all of the building permitting information and inspection notes and everything so that it's all in a central location
Right.
that it's easy for town staff to access, or the assessing department, anybody that comes in to look or has a question about, was this inspected, wasn't inspected, so that we're not relying on,
Files.
Files and change of hands, and, that when the next guy comes along, it's pretty easy to, choose to step into. So I think it's a big step in the right direction. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Do you want to weigh on the Tim Scott refund?
Yeah, I mean, it was a permit that was issued. There was never any work done, so I think that it's, the building code says that the building inspector has the ability to issue a refund, and I don't see any, I don't see any reason not to issue that refund.
Due to the extenuating circumstances.
Correct. I mean, there was a permit that was issued, there was never any work done, so I think that, and those, other than the town's fees, the other fees are for inspections and site visits, and
Would
none
never
of
happen.
that happened because they didn't do any work. So it wasn't, not calling for inspections, and it certainly, there was nothing to inspect.
Right.
To me, it makes sense.
Very good.
Yeah.
Any questions, Randy?
No,
Nope.
straightforward.
What's the decision on number 7?
Excuse me?
What's the decision on number 7?
He has the authority
To refund.
Issue-
issue the refund.
Yeah, so I'm saying,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good.
And before we issue the refund, let's make sure that we've recouped all time, if there was review time. I don't think there was,
I don't think, the only thing we did was review it too.
correct, so yes, so there was no time involved, so perfect. Yay. And that fee isn't returned, right?
Right,
The
it's
town's
just the
paying
billing
deposit,
fee.
correct.
Now, the other thing, do you want to write a letter to go along with the refund check?
I can, yep.
And this is something that's not normally done.
Correct. It's a good thing we adopted that state building code, otherwise the guy would be out of luck.
True.
Yay.
We're brilliant.
All right,
Very good.
run away, sir.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Number 8 on the agenda is a driving way permit, V10 Lot 108, owner Gardner. This is one that Jay does. The current driveway is steep and dangerous, and in the winter, this driveway will provide safer and easier access. So this is our, I guess, replacement driveway, I believe. That's how that looks like it's worded. You know anything about that, or?
I didn't say anything.
But Jay signed it, so I guess just need a motion to allow me to sign it for you guys, I guess.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Time Warner Cable.
And that, I just put in there as an FYI, that we're gonna be doing some changes, I don't,
Moving towards higher quality digital. Starting the 23rd, which is already, so no action is needed on this then, right?
no.
Okay. Want to read that? It's good reading, too.
I'll trust you on that.
Everybody got one of those,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one at home.
everyone got.
We don't feel so special now. Groundwater monitoring results on Maloon Road. This is from the old dump in a Carter Notch. Every year we go through this and they test the existing wells. I haven't had time to review this. This is my first time seeing
That's
this.
just, I don't think there's any actions.
No action is needed on this? So I think it's something that we should all pass around so we can all look at, do the old tag and pass on deal. Take a look at it anyway, so you know what
Sure.
it's about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A&P manifest, here to sign. I already did yours.
Actually, I think Bob is.
Bob is the only one who needs to sign on that.
And the payroll as well.
And legal expenses. My goodness. Julie and Ella have been working on breaking down the legal expenses for current lawsuits. This is total from January 1 to July 8th of this year. This is just this year. Funicella case has cost us $2,526.
What case was that?
Geno's,
Gino was how much?
$2,526 and change.
Right. Is that an active suit?
That is still an active suit, yes.
Okay. And what's the disposition of that?
Right now, we have released all the non-public minutes that were requested, and as of right now, I believe he is going to pursue the decisions on the transfer station and the Holly Lewis and contest those. It's best of my knowledge. Would that be fair to sum up that?
That was contained
what I
in the
saw in the
original
letter.
suit.
Yep.
Court hearing is in September.
September, yep. Second case is Frank Benesh, and that's $3,543 and change. You went to that meeting. How did that go? And thank you again for covering for me by the way, on that.
Missed it
Right.
too, sorry.
Well, the school district with their lawyer, SAU superintendent, and their lawyer were there and basically informed us of what their policy was going to need to be to consider elections on that site in the future. And they were going to draft it up, and we kind of walked the property. The moderator was there. Basically, there's a strip of mowed grass between the school and the businesses, and they felt that it would be reasonable to allow for electioneering to cordon off an area on that strip that starts about 80 feet, 75, 80 feet from the building,
Mhm.
and allow for electioneering to be held in that area. And that's their policy for the town having any future elections at the rec center. So if it's not something that we can assure them we can abide by, then we're going to have to look for another site to hold elections. Now, that was, and the school board chair was there as well, and that's what they were going to take to the board and recommend the board approve. And I don't know if they've had a meeting since that date, and so if that's gone through the school board yet, but once it does go through the school board, they were going to notify that, Mr. Benesh about that, and whether or not that was going to be acceptable, and then that was going to determine the next course of action connected to the lawsuit.
And we would, if it was such that we have to do snow removal for that, you know, we would obviously have to do that.
And that was, yeah, absolutely, it would be snow removal that we would commit to, which nobody there felt was going to be any big deal. So that's what would work for them, and so it's basically their property, their call, and I think that they're,
Pretty comfortable with that?
well, initially they didn't feel that it would be appropriate for any electioneering to be going on when school was in session. And so they moved off that point and found what they felt was a reasonable compromise, and so we'll see now.
And like you said, if that doesn't fly, then we're gonna have to find another place to have elections,
Yeah,
probably.
that's right. We would not be granted permission to use that site for elections.
30 years, it's never been a problem. Now because of one person, now it's a problem. What's that all about? Does that make any common sense to you?
Well, the important thing is to recognize that it is a problem and it has to be dealt with. So we can, I don't really have much to comment beyond that.
Moving on the list here, two cases which are kind of closed the books on was Shaw and Chase case. That was $617 and change, and that case has been resolved to satisfaction of both parties, so we shouldn't incur any more expenses on that one. And the fallacy issue, Diane's, is at our LGC insurance company, so we will not be accepting or be charged for any more monies in that account, but it's $175 so far. So that will be
So
covered
we're
by our
covered by the LGC?
LGC insurance, yep. So we stand on that?
Do we pay a fee, a premium each year for that?
Sure.
Which is,
I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but you know, all the services they give us, it's all incorporated in one massive
I see.
fee.
Okay. It's not a program.
No,
Okay.
no, it may go up next year, but
Of course.
I think this is really great that we've got a document like that, and we've got a running total that started at the first of the year. So
Well, it answers a
Really-
lot of questions in the public's eye.
well, and that's what prompted us to do that, is we had a public request to break down those legal costs, and so I'd like to thank the town office staff for doing that. Obviously, that wasn't something that I put together. Was it something you put together?
I did initially way back when,
Yeah.
but it's obviously gotten far outside of my hands now. so-
Right. I remember yours. But thank you for doing that. Are we going to, now, what is our plan moving forward with this legal report? Have we been asked to update that at every meeting?
Monthly.
Monthly, we've been asked to update that. Okay. Thank you.
That was a request by Sarah Clemens.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give her the good news.
Give her the good news. Or the news. Item number 13, assessment appeal review from Jason Call.
There was one new one that he added to that in his recommendation as a denial.
Denial on this one right here that has a
Yeah.
sticker on it.
Yep.
Asking for no change on this one. Want to take a look at that?
And all the other ones are the ones you guys reviewed.
Right.
Maybe you sign them, right? Yes.
Okay. So we can approve these as one lump sum?
I didn't see any
This one's
reason to not take Jason's recommendations on those when I reviewed them.
Mhm.
I don't know if either one of you did.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. It's his job, I think.
No, I agree. I'll make a motion to accept the assessment appeal reviews as recommended.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Let's sign our lives away here.
Guess we'll put that in the pile too, and I'll get them all at the end. planning board meeting tonight, right? Is there a planning board tonight? No. Yeah.
Yes, 7 o'clock, according to the notice out there.
All right.
Alrighty, new business. I got a little document here from the Bartlett Selectmen for the final payment of the contract that we settled for the transfer station. And everybody's seen this, so I guess we just have to accept that payment.
That's the old contract?
Sorry?
The old contract?
This was, the final
Yeah.
operations expenses and wages that we incurred prior to final negotiation of the old contract.
That's.
This settled that, now we're on the new, so we're all on the new monies now.
Right, start effective one.
That was effective when we decided that contract. It was like March, was it March?
Something like
That's
that.
the one that Gino challenged.
Correct.
Well, we looked back to determine a number
Right.
to even us out. And the look back, I believe, went to like February of 2011.
Huh.
They worked with us on that, and they said, okay, we'll look back that far. And so so we agreed on a number, got an initial payment, and then now this represents the final payment.
Final payment on
How
that.
much is those?
$24,640
That's the final payment,
of the 30, and we had previous one was, what, 13,000 something?
something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
15,000?
Yeah,
So it's
Imagine.
about 39,000 on that total.
right.
So, all right, so that was just an FYI, and that we don't have to do anything on that, right? Okay.
But that matter is now resolved.
That's
right.
resolved, yes.
Is that the one from the municipal?
Yes, what's this one?
So basically, that's a proposal that they've submitted for helping us, and
Oh, yes.
so you might want to review that and let us know. Ella and I looked it over, and we did not think that they needed to necessarily help us with every item that they had, which would then save us money. So,
But they were gonna touch bases with us after the dust settled.
correct, which is that's their proposal, and so, basically, we feel the ones that are circled are ones that we would like their help with,
Okay,
and everything that has a line through it, we don't feel that we need help with.
okay. Is everybody taking a look at this, or?
I emailed you guys.
This is from Municipal Resources, which is down in Meredith, what was it, MCI, I think it was? MRI, I can't remember, it's MCI,
Yeah.
MRI.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that helped us out when we did the transitioning.
And there was plenty on there that you felt didn't really.
Some of it pertained to our filing system, which we're in the process of revamping anyway.
Right.
Some of it was
Right.
more basic stuff that, we really don't feel we need to go over
Right.
with them.
Right.
A lot of it that I circled was more budgeting for year-end for reasons I haven't been through the process.
Mhm.
And some of the reporting requirements, I think, were more the areas we would like them to help.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember seeing this.
You know, I'm fine going forward with those items.
I'm sorry?
I'm fine going forward
So
with
I can
those
go ahead
items.
and tell them. which
Absolutely,
ones?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sound good with you?
Yes.
Think you need to.
All right, next is an application for current use. Robin Wildis, Exeter.
Oh, I think there were two in there.
Right,
that
and these
Jason-
are recommended by Jason for
Yes.
approval.
Yes. They've met all the criteria in order to put whatever they have into current use.
Into current
There's
use.
state specifications that they have to meet criteria on in order to be able to put their property into current use. And verified everything that they had submitted and concurred that it did meet the current use requirements, so that it should go into current use. And one individual on there was new to current use, they didn't have anything in current use, and the other one, they already had a portion in current use, and they were putting the remaining portion in.
Okay. And you were able to verify they've taken all the appropriate steps at the state levels?
Okay. so I guess I need a motion for this one. For Robin, application for current use for Robin Wildis, Willits, from Exeter, New Hampshire, lot on Iron Mountain Road,
So moved.
Second.
R11, lot 6, there it is. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Right.
Aye. You have to do this one in black ink, apparently. Big black.
Yeah.
And last item on the new business is another current use application. KDJ Realty Trust out of Hanover, Mass. Presidential Road, Middle Mountain Trail, map V8, lots 221 and 222. Map V10, lot 147, I guess must be multiple ones, so R14, lot 30.
They have a total of 10 acres to put it into current use. I think they're going
10
to
acres. And again, they met all the necessary requirements. So entertain a motion to put this property in current use.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Right?
Aye. Did I give you the other one, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sign the other one.
Yes, sir. How you sign it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to date it. Somebody covered me.
Gonna be black.
Not me.
Black ink. All right. Sir. All right. On to old business, item number 15, job descriptions. And we got that, well, that was
The only thing that I have in the folder is the,
Mirror Lake.
Mirror Lake. She said that there was only one, the post is a custom-built post, so there's only one quote in there, and the light part of it is still intact, so she has 2 quotes from electricians, and she said it's probably pretty clear which one you guys would choose. So
$300.
if you approve her to the electrician and the post, she's going to coordinate getting it fixed. And she'll just give us the bill.
What kind of money are we talking?
I think it was about $300.
Oh. It scared me, it's been dragging out so long, we could have built.
So this is for the lantern, and then this is
You know,
2
pay the
different
money,
quotes for
get
the
it over
post.
with.
Is that how that works?
I'm
This,
sorry?
we've got a $40 quote, $189 and $40 from Walpole Woodworkers.
Yes, so that's the custom post, and she said that she only got one quote because it's custom placed.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then
and
the
then the
other
work.
is the electrician.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well,
And whichever one you guys would like to go with as far as the electrician, which she said was probably pretty clear.
yeah, well, I'll make a motion that we use D'Souza Electric to
Yeah.
install the post and go ahead and
And so she'll just
make the
submit it.
purchase. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
Submit us a bill.
sure.
With the motion, I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And job descriptions, the only thing we have left on that is a couple of the minor players in the field and
I will, well,
Andy's, right?
yeah, so I believe it's Highway and Andy.
We got all of the highway, the road crew.
Oh, yeah?
I spent about an hour with Jay yesterday. I put together a template for him, sent it out to him. He spent some time going over it with both of you guys, I think, and it was interesting because, you know, a job position that's never ever had a job description attached to it tends to kind of get a response when you decide you're going to attach a job description to these jobs of what do you want to do that for? We've never needed one, I've never had one, I know what I need to do. And so there's a level of resistance that can present itself when you're trying to clean these things up and document essential duties. And I mean, this isn't the first time since we've started this project that we've gotten that kind of pushback. And so it was great to sit down with Jay and have that discussion with him. And you know, who knows who's going to be sitting at this table in 2-3 years down the road. And somebody's going to come in and maybe want to have a tendency to be more of a micromanager than we would be with a department head and say, well, what do you do? And this is what I do. And it adds continuity, and it adds stability, and it helps post, and it helps with interviewing, and it helps with performance reviews. And so he understood that it wasn't necessarily for him to know what his crew was doing, but for a record to be in somebody's file as far as what their essential duties are and their ability to perform tasks, the physical requirements connected with the job. Maybe things they easily meet today, but who knows what the future holds for people. And so it was good working with Jay. We're going to go with 2 separate job descriptions. We did finalize the language yesterday, but I didn't change the document. I'll change it, and I'll get it to you, and you can get it out to Bill and John to review before the next meeting. There's going to be the 2 separate job descriptions for the highway department crew. Obviously, we've already finalized Jay's. His is out of draft form, and we approved that at a meeting. Is part-time and a full-time. He has 1 part-time position, and he felt like what he was going to be looking for from a part-time highway department person might be a little bit different from what he would need from a full-time crew member. So he wanted that flexibility to have 2 separate job descriptions. I made it clear to him too that these can be changed when there are openings. So, like for example, he didn't really feel like he should be requiring a CDL license for his part-time person, because that wasn't what that person was going to need to perform, and that's his decision. That's an operational issue. He's the department head. So that ended up coming out of the job description for the part-time individual that he has a budget for. So I'll get that to you guys between meetings, and we can have them in front of us to review at the next meeting.
And will that also include Andy, so then everyone will be done on the 25th?
I think Andy's might need a couple of looks, to be
Okay.
quite
We're going to
honest.
start the building inspector's job description on the 18th. Who knows how far we'll get? Maybe.
Maybe one may take a while. I certainly want to, get input from the public too. Some people are interested in that.
Well, it's going to absolutely end up being something we may seek input on, and it's a position that doesn't exist, and so there'll be a posting at some point in time. But I think we can move forward, get a lot of work done on that. As far as job descriptions, have you had a conversation at all with the chief about job descriptions for the full-time or part-time officers?
I have not had any discussions about job description.
Okay.
Is that something you want to pull out? I guess I thought from a conversation that those were done, but you're saying that's still
The
out.
chief is done.
The department heads were all done.
Okay.
They were done first.
And as I understood it, just because of the difference with a law enforcement, head of a law enforcement department, it's really him And these are Jay's job descriptions too, for his staff, but he has the authority to make a decision. He was always seemed to be amenable to having job descriptions, but they would be something we might have, you might have input on, but it would be him. And there are templates that exist and stuff too, so,
Okay, I will talk with them about
yeah.
that, okay?
And then is that everybody?
I think so.
We don't have any over here. 'cause
No.
they're all.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the
Deputy is
assistant,
appointed.
what's that?
The
Sorry.
deputy is appointed, but she performs the duties that she's charged with by the elected official.
Right.
So I think we're stuck not having one for that.
Well, it's not something that can move forward without Jeanette's support, that's for sure. It would be nice to know whether she was interested in working on something like that.
I'll ask her.
Okay, great.
Anything else on that?
I have nothing on job descriptions.
I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
And then I'll leave you alone. These lawsuits, we obviously do not have an insurance policy that would cover us with something like this.
That's right.
What if we were sued for $100,000 or $200,000? We'd be self-insured?
Not exactly sure what the threshold is, but there is a, over the top, I can't remember why Diane.
Might be something worthwhile looking into because it could get serious. Not with these cases, but something, you need to have a.
See what the LGC has for a limit on.
You have an exposure.
I think it was because of the way Diane's lawsuit was named. Because I can't remember the wording on that, but
Well, she was feeling like there was
discrimination.
discrimination. And
It reached a certain level, I guess.
we asked Peter
Yeah.
if the LGC was an option for being involved in these suits, and the answer was no, and he explained why. I can't really pass it on. I think it was a couple months ago. I can't remember how long ago we had that conversation.
Yeah, it was a
I
couple
remember the
months ago.
conversation, I don't remember the.
Yeah.
Well, it might be. The other thing is, in respect to the election day thing, so that grass area, and then you have as I remember, the driveway. The driveway belongs to Roleski, is that correct?
That's right.
Right. So, and he doesn't want anything to do with anyone campaigning on his property.
He said that in the past, yeah.
Well, originally, they got permission, and he said, I don't care what you're doing. And
Right.
he said, they saw he had a liability there.
Right.
So he told them he didn't want them.
Right.
So they would have to stay within that confine. And then how close can they get to the front entrance to the building? with the
Well,
campaign?
Yeah, and again, this is the school district's criteria for holding elections there is basically what we're referring to. But I think it measured about 75, 80 feet from the front of the building.
Is there that much room there? Yeah.
There's that walkway that goes there too. I think they're in front of that walkway.
Yeah. So if they did violate that, they would be subject to a violation.
Well, you'd end up, and I see this at many towns, and I think it's this way in Conway, and I know it's this way in a number of North Country towns I've driven by on election day. You stake it out, you tape it off, and there's your boundary, and anybody who is interested in electioneering has clear boundaries that they can do it in, which was basically what we had during the last election with everything staked and roped off. It would be a lot less of that, but it would be clear to anyone who had an interest in electioneering where they could do that.
And if they violated that, they'd be subject to a fine.
Right. So I don't know if they've had a school board meeting since that date and made their position on that official, but they were going to contact us when they did, and then we could take it from there. Then it's up to us. But we've looked into other sites, and we'll have an election.
Any other public comments?
Well, I just have two things. The state gave us a radio for the emergency management, which, like I said, it's sitting around in the state police barracks for a while. They finally got around to giving us one. That's kind of why we need the letter saying that I was the emergency management director, so I could get the radio. I took it down to Ospey Electronics to have a program, which we're supposed to do. The state will pay for that programming, and we give them a check, a copy of the certified cancel check. So there'll be an extra radio around should anybody need it. And the other thing was we had a safety committee meeting yesterday. Some department heads, Bill was there as well. So we're going to try to have those quarterly to be compliant with a grant that we have gotten at one point, and also if there were a grant in the future which you might want to have. So those are happening quarterly. Next one's going to be in September.
Excellent.
Any other public comments?
And anytime you want an agenda item to, okay.
All right. Not hearing, I guess we'll close the public session and go into non-public sessions. We have 4 of those pending. Thank you for all coming.
Thank you.
Not bad, guys.
Summer.
Not bad.
Summer.